Good morning, what's happening everybody? Willie here at the Great Outdoors. Well, I'm gonna tell you, right now I'm outdoors. It ain't so great though. The last 8 days have been pretty rough, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I've actually entertained the idea of making a video on this, and then I've talked myself out of it at least 11 times. And I've made an intro and then stopped, just because trying to figure out a way to make it interesting for you to even care what's going on out here. Because if it's not entertaining to you, it's like having a conversation on the telephone. And here's what I've come up with. Okay, I am out here in the what used to be Want to Go Fishing mobile headquarters. That's right, I'm in the camper in the yard, in the driveway. Now it is the Great Outdoors mobile headquarters in the camper in the driveway. Why am I in the camper in the driveway? Well, some of you who I've been talking to, friends that are fairly close to me off of YouTube and such, you guys know that I am out here. And why I am out here is because my family is in the house with COVID. That's right, they had COVID. Somehow, some strange, weird elves making cookies in a tree, unicorn dust, planets aligned all just right way. I have not got it. We are going on 8 days now, well 10 days total, but 8 days that I've been out here in the camper, and I have tested twice negative on both occasions. Just pure luck is all I can figure. So yes, I've been out here in the camper. Thank goodness I have the camper. I had somewhere to go. Otherwise I probably would have been in the garage. Both of my boys and my wife have it. Luckily, when it comes down to COVID, if there's any luck whatsoever, the younger generation doesn't get pelted with it as hard as we older generation do. So my sons have been able to take care of my wife inside, and while I've had to go to work. So I've been going to work every morning, getting up at 5 a.m. here in the old camper and heading to work. I've been coming home in the afternoons, going to my wife's sports complex where she manages, and taking showers and doing all that fun stuff, and then coming back here straight after that and tending to anything that needed to be tended to. I didn't make a video last Wednesday simply because I didn't have anything really to make anything on. I didn't think that the whole update of COVID living in the camper was all that interesting, and that's a conversation that you have on the telephone with somebody. Hey, you're not going to believe this, but I've been living in the camper for 8 days, and then that conversation's over. So again, fortunately, my boys have been able to tend to my wife. Having the shots, which we did, I'm assuming that is what took a little bit of the edge off of it, and my wife didn't have it as bad, of course, as we did the first time that we had it. I guess there's something to be said for that. Regardless, that's what's going on. I'm out here in the camper, and I have been living off of pecan clusters, a $14 bag of Lifesavers, half a loaf of bread, some Jif peanut butter, and some crackers over here. It has not been fun. This is not like camping. This is more like apocalypse, Armageddon, the zombies are coming kind of thing. That's how you're living out here. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's been a great time out here. It has not been. But they are doing much better now, and because it's been going on 10 days now that I've been away from them, and 8 days that I've been out here, tonight I should be able to go back in the house. The boys and my wife are inside actually cleaning, and they're got the Lysol wipes, and they're doing doorknobs and handles and vacuuming and everything they can do, and I will be going back inside this afternoon. Now, what brought me around to actually making this video was that I have a couple of friends that I had talked to that knew I was out here, and they were probably realized at some point that I was going to start ripping my hair out or hunting squirrels in the backyard before it was all said and done. They sent me a couple of things to kind of keep my mind occupied. And one of those things, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history, and hopefully you'll take something from it, and we'll go there. You'll learn something. That's right. Occasionally, it's been 3 years I've been doing YouTube. Hopefully in those 3 years, somebody has managed to learn something. I know I have. I've learned a lot. Now, whether or not you've been able to take anything from what I've learned, I don't know. Maybe you have. I hope you have. But what we're going to talk about is a name I've mentioned quite often. Dan Selvig sent me a couple of reels in the mail, and I've been sitting out here at the table going over it. Now, these reels are in really good shape. Dan's already taken care of them, and I haven't had to do anything. I took the plates off, and they're perfect inside. Dan's did a great job of making them work and function. But I'm going to show you something really quick. First thing we'll do is we'll look at this one. This is a 1755 underspin by Shakespeare. Okay, this reel is very much like the 1810 that we rebuilt, got the parts for, except this is the predecessor. This is the beginning of it. This is where it all came from. 1755. Now, this one has a switch, an up and down slide switch, instead of the flip switch that you would have up here. It's more like a lever. This is more of a slide switch. You still cast by dropping the lever backwards, grabbing the line, casting, then after your cast, flipping the switch back down so you can't go backwards and accidentally release the line again during the retrieve of a fish or something like that. Your drag is still the cap itself. This is a really cool reel, beautiful green, emerald green here. What we're going to talk about real quick are dates. That is the history part of this that I want to talk to you about. We'll grab this other reel and show you that real quick, and then we'll go to that whole dating thing. This is a 1756. Now, 1755, 1756, the next model. Great box. I mean, Shakespeare was just unbelievable with their boxing of their reels. Back here was a description, a really cool description of the reel and how it functions. Then you have patent numbers all over the place over here. Then on the back, they even advertised their rod that worked with that particular reel, the underspin stuff. Then of course you had your Shakespeare logo, and then here's what I like at the bottom here: built like a fine watch. Hey, I believe it. I do believe it. Let's take this one out and take a look at it real quick. This is your 1756. Now, Shakespeare really did like this color combination, this gold and burgundy. They really liked it quite a bit, because I've got a lot of reels, and so does Dan, with the same color combination in different models. Really cool. Same thing. Here's your lever. You have a lever instead of a slide switch on the 1756, and you kick it backwards, cast, flip it. Now she won't cast again. So they're basically the same mechanism, same style of mechanism, just in a flip switch instead of a lever, more or less, than a slide switch. Now, here's what I really wanted to talk about. I'm hoping that I'll be able to focus on this. I don't know that you can, but right there under the title of what this reel is, at the bottom, if I can get the angle right, you can see there's some letters and numbers stamped right in there. Okay, now what you have is what you would think is the model, being a 1756. They have it listed as a number, NO, number 1756. Then model is actually 2 letters. Okay, and the 2 letters on this particular reel are the letter E like Edward and C like cat. Which, by the way, my cat misses me. Boo is absolutely turning flips in that house when I'm in the garage trying to wash my clothes and he can't see me. He's in there turning flips and meowing and acting like a crazy person. If nothing else, I've got to get back in that house just to keep him from going nuts. Anyway, back to the reels. E and C. Okay, those 2 letters tell you a date. Now, you can go online and look up Shakespeare vintage reels date codes. What those date codes are, the letter E and the letter C, if you go to that, there's going to be, I'm going to pull it up for you real quick. I have a picture on my phone so that I can do this stuff just as simple as, I don't know if you can read that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, that's where I got it from. You'll see the date codes on there, which are right over in here somewhere. They have letters over top of numbers, okay? Now, E and C stand for 19. Let's get it right. E and C. E stands for 6 and C stands for 8. So what you have is a date code of 1968. Okay, but here's the kicker. That doesn't necessarily mean that your reel is a 1968. What that means is this design was 1968. Now, if they made this reel, let's say 2 or 3 years in a row and didn't change anything, you're going to have that E and C on the side of that reel, because if they didn't change anything, they didn't change that code. So just because it says 1968 doesn't mean that it's a 68. Okay, it could be a 68, a 69, or 70. Now I'm just winging it here on how many years this reel was made, because I don't know. But they did make the same style of reel for a few years in a row on certain reels. So just because it says 68 doesn't mean it's a 68. Now, what ends up happening is they don't change the date code until they change something physically on the reel. And that could be something simple, just like that lever being up here on the side and not a slide switch. It could be the angle of the crank arm. Could be the style of crank arm. Could be the way the drag. If you notice how the two ribs where you grab the drag to turn it are skinny on this one and thick on this one, those are the things that caused the date code to change. Okay? So just like with this one here, this one has the letters FF, Frank. So that reminds me, I'd like to have a hot dog today. But Frank stands for 55, okay, 1955. So if they made this reel 2 years in a row, you're going to have the model. Now that's the weird thing, is they call that the model. To me, the model would have been the 1755, but that's number, not model. Kind of weird, but FF stands for 1955. There again, if they would have made this reel 2 or 3 years in a row, you could have had a 1955, 56, or 57 and still had FF on the side, because the mechanism and the model and the way this is made didn't change. Now, if you had a reel that was only made 1 year, that date code would have been for that year, and that would have been it. That would have been the date of that reel when it was made. So it's a little confusing, but that's how that works. So just in case you have any of these Shakespeare, whether it's an underspin or a regular spin cast from the 50s, 60s, 70s, or whatever, that's how you can tell what year the model was made. Okay? But there again, it may have gone 2 or 3 years. That part I'm still trying to work out, how you find out how many years in a row something was made. But anyway, there's a little history. These two reels are really great. I haven't had to do a thing to them. Dan sent them to me already cleaned up and ready to go fishing. So I am just ready to go fishing. I'll be honest with you. I'm ready to get out of this camper. I am on vacation for the next week through Christmas, and it's too cold really to do anything around here. One of the things that we wonder about is Shakespeare in general. What happened? Because Shakespeare, these things are excellent quality reels, and they actually were pretty expensive. They were one of the higher dollar reels back in the day compared to Johnson and Pfluger and some of those guys. They were ranked right up there pretty high. But what we know from Shakespeare these days is basically walking into a store like Walmart, okay? And you see Shakespeare, they're just that entry level, buy it for your kid that wants to just go out and fish, and if he breaks it, who cares? Or, Bob is going to take a camping trip out to Nag's Head to the beach, and he buys a $60 beach combo that he can blast 100,000 yards, and if he shuts the tailgate of his truck on the tip of it and breaks it, who cares? But that's kind of what Shakespeare is now. It's not really the quality of these guys here, which is really weird to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have been cool to be at that round table meeting when somebody went, well, here's what we're going to do. We're not worried about being high dollar anymore. We just want to make things that people will buy, and if they trash them, they'll come back next year and buy a new one. I mean, I'm sure conversations like that have been had at companies. We take a look at Johnson, for example, and you know, when they started changing the way they did things and went to the graphite and plastic reels and stuff, it just didn't work out. Fortunately, you have names like Zebco and Pfluger and Daiwa and all those guys that managed to hold on all these years and keep a quality. You know, Abu Garcia and things like that. Mitchell, even Mitchell's still out there doing stuff. So it makes you wonder. It made me wonder what happened. What happened? That's all I want to know. I don't know. Maybe you know. Type it in down there. Tell me what you think happened. Because I think just like any other company, they made decisions and things changed. That's just how it goes. Let's get on to this next thing. Well, actually, it's in my pocket, but I want to show you that real quick. Very good friend of mine, Brian, from Pacific Northwest. Brian, I'm going to put his, Evan will put it right here for me when we do this editing, right here. Brian sent me a Benchmade knife. Another really nice box. Model Custom Griptilian CU 550-SS-20CV. That's a lot of numbers, so it's got to be good. And it is Benchmade, so that's just how it works. Look at that. Look at that. Got the fancy switch to be able to unlock. Well, that's for unlocking, but watch, if you're a professional, you know how to do this stuff, you know. I've cut my fingers enough times to know. Now, the cool thing about this knife, other than the fact that he sent it to me, which I cannot begin to thank him enough, I don't know that you'll be able to see it. I'm going to try to get an angle where you can. Anyway, that says Willie's Knife on the side right there, and on this side it says The Great Outdoors etched in the blade. Isn't that cool? And then you whoop, got your little clip thing there, and it's in an awesome blue, which if I drop it in the grass I should be able to find it. Aside from those ones that are in camo, I've never understood a camo colored knife, because if you do drop it, how are you supposed to find it? You just got to get lucky. Brian, thank you very much, very much. I truly appreciate that. Dan for the reels, again, can't thank you enough. That's all for right now. Hopefully I will be back in the house this afternoon, but that's all that I wanted to say for right now, and let you know a little update, some history on the Shakespeare there, how to read some date codes. Hopefully that's a little bit of something. You got something from that, and we'll see you hopefully in just a little bit. I'm hungry. You think I would be hungry? Why would I be hungry? Why should I be hungry? I've been having peanut butter and Lifesaver sandwiches for 8 days now. Doesn't even sound appetizing in any way, shape, or form. Boozy? It's me. I'm back. You miss me? Huh? It's been 10 days since I've been in the house. Come here, fatty. Oh, gosh. You look all smooth and clean. You been taking a bath? Take a shower? No? No bath or shower? Oh well, I'm back in the house. Still looks the same 10 days later, 8 days later. How many days was it? 7, 9 days? Oh, here we go. This is it. There it is. There's the eye. Okay, yeah, you haven't been in the house. Yes, there it is. Oh well. I'm back in the house. It's about the best I can say at this point, is I'm back in the house. So, Merry Christmas and good night. I'm sleeping in a real bed. If I can stand up straight.